Yeah, I want to make a little video about talk a little bit about the shear webs and what's going on in here. When we join the wings, this part is going to go through the root rib, and there are 4 lines over here inside the root rib that delimitates where the front shear web is going to be. So we're going to have one in front, one in the back, like this. And when the wing is all done, we're going to cut these little slits out so we can make a little pocket, and I'm going to insert the main spar in between them. Okay, so that's the whole idea over here. So if you pay attention to these inner lines here, where it's going to be cut out, it's going to be inserted. Okay, you want to make sure that the shear webs are in the front and on the back of those 2 lines, and you can use these lines over here as a reference as well. Okay, mainly the front line, the front web, you want to go all the way in the front against this this surface inside, right? And on the back side, you can use anything you want to do. You can even use this and put them in between so we can you know, get halfway decent. The shear webs are a little bit wide, so you may have to sand off a little bit on them, or even cut out, because as you move inwards, they're gonna get shorter and shorter, and the last ones I have different dimensions, so they have to be trimmed out a little bit. Okay, so but I think, from what I remember, I think the first 3 ones are spot on. No, see, I have to cut a little bit off of it, but that's not a problem. So I'm just gonna take an X-Acto knife, trim it off a little bit, and just put in there. There you go. It's really not that difficult, but you don't want to put too much pressure on them, okay? And so I'm going against this edge here, and then I'm watching this inner line to, you know, kind of stay. You see it's a little bit biased over here in the front. There's a little bit of space. Well, I'm going to keep the same space all the way across. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be perfect right on the top of the line. It's just a reference over there. And I'm just going to put the... See, the center is bowing a little bit, so no, it's perfect. So it's pretty much hands off and at this point, and I'm just going to put it in there. Okay. And now I'm going to fit another piece on the back side. Just touch it off a little bit here. I know I have to cut off a little bit from it here, from this side, because obviously they're the same, right? So this guy is going to go in here, like that. And maybe a little bit more. It's just so small, I'm going to just sand it off to size. Such a small difference in there. So I'm going to cheat a little bit here. I'm just going to go like this. Okay. And then I'm going to glue it. And I have one more rib in the back. And I'm going to start to do, since it's just a short video, I'm going to demonstrate how I do it. You just go on one side and just note on the other side how much is to be snipped off, and just take the X-Acto knife and just cut it off like that. That's about it. Yeah, this one I'm using the reference line there, putting it right on. Okay, that's it. And I'm going to move on. One other thing that I want to say here in this video is that you don't want to. Couple of things. When you put the shear webs in place, you don't want them to push too hard to the point it starts to bend things. And as you can see, the back side of this line, it's actually on the back side of the shear web, so you can just drag it back in until you touch the line, and there you are. Okay, that's a good position. and you can glue it, touch the ends, and I prefer to glue it from this side. It's a little trick. Why? Because if you glue it from this side, you may get glue on a tape, and I don't really want to mess with it later on. So that's a little detail. And I'm just gonna continue on with this. Just sand off one side. You can put it inside. You don't want to go like this too sharp of an angle, right? Because that's not gonna give you right measurement. You just go just below the top, and you by looking in here, about 1/16 of an inch or so. And what I'm doing, I'm just eyeballing it, and it seems to work pretty good. And if it's too tight, well, just take this and give it a couple of swipes. And if it stays by itself, it's perfect, and that's about as good as it's gonna get. I'm gonna tag the ends, glue in the middle. Okay, on number 4, so it's between rim number 4 and 5. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 2 of them. You can see it's a 4 and 4B. 4 it's in the front, 4B it's on the back. And if you look on the back, there are 2 little lines here, 1, 2. You want to put the 4B in between the lines. So since 4B is first, I'm just going to start with that. Sand off one side. I'm going to go like this here. Okay. Pretty much. And right on a line, because I like nice work. Okay, number 4 now. Okay, and this is just an example. I only try to make an example in this little movie, little video, whatever you call it, just for the first few ribs. The rest, you just go down the line, we just continue on towards the end of the wing, and everything is the same. This really doesn't change much by anything. But what I wanted to capture in this little video is to pay attention on this section over here, where you're gonna insert the main spar. It's important that they're aligned and not too far forward or backwards. Use the line as a reference. If it's a little bit off in the front or a little bit off in the back, it's not going to hurt anything. Another thing I want to touch off is when you glue this piece here, this one, make sure you just run your fingers in the front, and they should be at the same level, both of them, this one and that one. So you don't want this piece here to be in the front or on the back of it, because that's what's going to give you a nice first rib position, and that's what's going to give you virtually no trouble when you insert the connecting the wing joiner in position when you put the wings together. Okay, so this is important. Try to glue from this side rather than this side, because you don't want to get glue on these little pieces of tape. And as you can see, the tape is when we're going to put the top skin on, we're going to take this tape, you're just going to tape it over, right? If you try to tape it after that, like I said, it's hard to get your fingers underneath it to try to tape it in and make sure you have a good bond on the tape. So everything has a reason. This little piece in here, this is the piece that's gonna make a little block, a little hard block for the rear screw, because the rear screw, it's right over there somewhere, right? This rib doesn't touch this side of the doesn't touch this rib. It goes on the other side, so you can bridge it over